Have you ever seen a vegetable like this at your local grocery store and wondered, what the heck do I even do with this? How do I cook it? How do I make it taste good? I hear you. I get asked all the time, Christine, what do I do with leeks or Napa cabbage or bok choy? For that matter, even kale might be new to you. So if you're wondering how to make all of these nutritious dark leafy greens taste delicious and not be afraid of them anymore, stay tuned. I got all of these gorgeous fresh vegetables at Basil Bandwagon Natural Market, and I can't wait to show you how easy it is to prepare them. So I'm going to show you how to prepare Napa cabbage. This is also known as Chinese cabbage. It's a little bit longer than regular old green cabbage. And I just cut this in half lengthwise, and I'll show you how to chop it up and cook it. We're also going to be working with scallions today, which add a nice pungency. And then we have leeks, of course. This is baby bok choy. It's a little on the big side for baby bok choy, but there's also the larger variety that has more white stems. And then we have some regular green kale. I'm going to season everything with just a simple olive oil and sea salt. So first of all, with the kale, I'm just going to rip this off the stems and then just rip it into little bite-sized pieces. If you prefer, you can chop it up with a knife, but I just find this makes it go really fast. So this is about 5 leaves of kale. There's different varieties of kale. This is just regular green kale, but there's lacinato kale, there's dino kale, which is kind of the same thing, lacinato and dino kale. There's also red Russian kale and some other varieties out there. Now let's move along to bok choy. So first I'm going to chop off the bottom so that it just falls apart a little easier. You can save this to make soup stock if you like. And you just want to watch out for any bad spots, but this looks pretty good actually. And you can see how it falls apart a little easier. Sometimes at this point you need to wash it again. I already washed it once, but once you take it apart like this, you might see some other dirt that could be hanging in there. So we'll just give it another quick rinse. Here is some bad stuff though that we are going to chop away. We don't really want to eat that. It may not taste so great. Okay, to chop up the bok choy, I'm just going to cut it in half lengthwise and then chop it into bite-sized pieces. And then just repeat that with all the remaining leaves. Okay, so for the Napa cabbage, you just want to check on the outside to make sure there's no little bad spots like that. And if there are, just take them off. And then you want to just cut the core out. Again, you can save that for soup stock if you like. And there's actually a little sprouty thing growing in the middle that I'm just going to throw away because that could be bitter. Then I'm just going to turn it over, and this is the easiest vegetable in the world to cut. I love it. You literally just slice through like so. Again, catching any bad spots like that or dirt and just, giving it a wash, or in this case, throwing it away. And voila, nice and easy to chop up. Taking out all those little bad spots, but there we go. Okay, for our scallions, I already removed the bottom part. When you buy scallions, they often have this little root attached, and it kind of looks dirty sometimes, so you can just chop that right off. And now I just line them all up, and I'm just going to slice through on a diagonal, cutting them about maybe a ½ inch. This is where you really want to have a good sharp knife so that you don't end up just sort of smashing them. And then once you get to the end, sometimes you'll find little funky spots that you can just... Last but not least, couldn't resist, we're going to chop this guy up. Okay, and then we're going to trim off the tops. So we're just getting rid of any bad spots there. Then we're going to slice it up the middle. So it kind of, leeks sort of have like a flatness to them at the top. So you just want to slice right up through that. And kind of like with our bok choy, there could be some dirt hanging in there. And oh yeah, there is some like sandy soil. So we're just going to give this another rinse and then chop it up. Okay, so now putting the flat side down, we're going to slice these into ½ inch size pieces. And again, kind of on a diagonal. Once you get to this part, you can just flatten it out a little bit more, wobbly to cut. And voila, it was that easy. Now we have 5 different green vegetables all cut up and ready to saute together. So So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil, or you can do water, or you can even do a tablespoon of olive oil and a few tablespoons of water. I'm adding my leeks first. If you don't get that initial dramatic sizzle and the splatter and all that stuff, don't worry, because it's better to keep the oil temperature a little bit lower anyway and heat as you go. And I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to help soften the leeks. So we'll just cook these by themselves for a few minutes before adding the next vegetable. Next, we're going to add the kale. Kale's a little bit of a more dense and takes a little longer to cook type of vegetable than the Napa cabbage or the bok choy, which are more delicate greens. So we want to cook this longer, so we're putting it in sooner in the cooking. I'm going to add another little shake of salt. And at this point, I'm just going to add a little splash of water as well. So as you can see, it's gotten a little bright green here, and we don't want to overcook the kale. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and add all of the remaining ingredients. So in go the scallions, the Napa cabbage, and the bok choy. Yes, believe it or not, I think it's all going to fit in this pan. I could have used a little bit of a larger pan, but it cooks down anyway. And just let that steam for another few minutes. Okay, so you can see how the greens cook down, and I added minimal water, but you could always add another little splash of water. You can even add a splash of white wine if you like. And I kept my seasoning very simple. It was really just the sea salt, but here too, if you want to add some soy sauce or coconut aminos, you can also, in the beginning, if you want to add some chopped up garlic or ginger to add flavor, you can do that. But I kind of like just this very simple, basic taste of the sauteed greens. And then you can always put a dressing on top if you want to add your favorite salad dressing or a little more olive oil and sea salt, something to make it more interesting for your taste buds. That's great. All right, we're going to call this done. And you'll want to take it right off the heat and transfer it to a platter or something so that it has a chance to cool. Otherwise, your greens can overcook. You want to catch them where they're a little on the slightly underdone side, because they'll continue to cook from just the heat. I hope you enjoy these dark leafy greens as much as I do. They're a great source of calcium and magnesium. I love greens so much, that's why I'm even wearing green. And I hope this inspires you to eat more of them yourself. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more weekly cooking videos. Here's to your health.